Today we're going to talk about planting, growing, and harvesting radishes. Now, if you're watching this video, you've probably either never grown radishes or you've grown them but you've had some trouble along the way. That's what I'm here to help you with today, because I've been there. I've had radishes that don't come up quite the way I want to, so we're going to work through that today. Now, what you'll need is some loosely tilled soil and some radish seed. When you're thinking about what kind of soil you're going to use, if you're in a stand-up planter or you're trying to do this in like pots, if you are using a pot, I would recommend like maybe a large rectangle pot or something where you have a lot of surface area. But your soil needs to be really finely tilled. So if you are planting them in the ground like we're going to go over today, till your soil, wait a couple days and till it again, because we really want it to be nice and loose for radishes. As with any root vegetable, it's going to need nice loose soil. Okay, secondly, take your pack of seeds and those instructions on the back, don't refer to those at all, okay? The seed instructions are garbage. It's nearly impossible to follow those instructions, and you're not going to get as good as results as what I'm going to show you today. All right, well, let's get started planting. Okay, you want to start off with some nice freshly tilled soil. It needs to be nice and loose, at least 1/2 inch to 1 inch down. Think about how big your radish is going to be, and you don't want it hitting hard clay or any rocks. So first, I'm just going to kind of prep the soil by making sure I don't have any large debris or anything that's going to get in the way. You do want it to be kind of flat because radish seeds are round and they will roll. So what we're going to do is, I think it's easier really to put them in your hand and then spread them. So we've got just like a handful of radish seeds, and what we're going to do is just sprinkle them around on the ground. No measuring, no 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch that says on the back of your seed packet. You're just going to kind of sprinkle them until they're scattered around. Now, this little patch of radishes that I'm doing right here is not going to be a lot, but if you succession plant your radishes, then you can have radishes growing all season long. So then we're just going to take a little bit of this finely tilled up soil. If you don't have a really good tiller, you can always just get some potting soil and throw it out, scatter your radish seed down, and then cover it up with just a little bit of soil. Once you feel like, sometimes I like to do my soil like this, and that way any of the weeds or larger particles will come out in the mix. This soil is a little bit wet, but if you have dry, you can see here I have some drier soil. I just like to kind of break it up as I scatter it about. And then we're just gonna water. You want to water with a nice mist, nothing too hard. And in fact, I'm going to show you next what a downpour or improper watering will do to your radishes. So let's take a look at some little bitty radish seedlings. Now, in just a few days, you're going to have little radish seedlings that pop up just like this. Now, what happened here was I scattered them about very evenly, just like we did in the patch over here, but we had a lot of rain, just a really torrential downpour of rain. So all my radishes kind of moved around, and they're not exactly where I would like them to be. This might happen to you if you have a lot of rain, or if you water them with too heavy of a water. So you want to really just mist or finely shower your seeds until they start popping up. So what I'm going to do now is thin out my seedlings. This is a really important step to growing radishes. So this is where those measurements come in. You want to have them as far apart as you want radishes. So think a couple of inches in between. And what I tend to do is I will thin them out a little bit today, and then I might come back in a couple of days and thin them out even more. I'm just leaving the biggest, strongest, best looking little seedlings here, and the smaller, weaker ones I'm just plucking out of the ground because, one, they're taking up space so your radishes can't grow, and two, they're sucking up nutrients out of the soil that the ones you need. So more isn't always better. You want to make sure you have a nice inch or two, about 2 inches in between seedlings. But like I said, I'm just going to thin these out, wait a couple days, see which ones are the biggest and strongest, and come back and thin them out one more time. I'm really excited because I'm actually harvesting my radishes for the first time with you all. I've been patient and I've waited, and I haven't eaten any of these. I haven't harvested any of these. Now these have been thinned out. You can see the green part is a good almost 6 inches to 8 inches high. This is probably a good 10-inch long. So they're going to be nice and full, and I've given them enough space because I've come back and thinned them out. I thinned them probably once every couple of days for the first week. These radishes are ready to harvest, and they are about a month old. You can start really early with radishes, okay? Spring, early spring, all the way into mid-summer. If you're going to grow them a little bit longer into the season, I would recommend maybe some shade because they are a cool weather crop. But don't get too caught up in that. Radishes are super easy to grow, and I basically just keep planting them almost every 10 days throughout the season so that you can have them well into late summer. Okay, so let's look at harvesting some. It's so easy. You're just gonna pluck it right down at the base, hold it right where the radish meets the leaf. Oh my gosh, I don't think I could have picked a better radish to show you guys. So as you can see, this radish here doesn't have any cracking. If your radishes have a lot of cracks in them, then you'll know that they didn't have enough water. So make sure you're giving your radishes water throughout the entire growing season so that they can come out pretty darn perfect like this one. Here's a little bit closer, up close view for harvesting the radish. Now you'll see that some aren't quite ready because you can't see the radish, but others are basically coming out of the ground already. So these right here, you're going to be able to see your radishes when they're ready. So they'll just present themselves to you. That's how easy it is. But if I pluck this one where I can't see any radish yet, it's not going to be ready. So these are round, red, scarlet globe radishes. They're your basic kind of radishes. So they're super easy because they're going to show right up here. But even if you're planting the longer white or tall thin radishes, they're still going to come up out of the ground a little bit. So these are just really easy. You just hold it right here at the base and pluck, and you're ready. Now, as you remember, we put the radish seeds directly into the ground. As with any root vegetable, you cannot transplant these. So beets, carrots, radishes, anything like that, you're going to have to plant it where you want it. Don't think about moving it at any point in the process, and you're going to have pretty easy radishes in about a month. Now, if you've messed up and did not thin your radishes out well enough to begin with, because I've only taken a few out of the garden right now, I'm making room for those ones that quite haven't developed. So you don't want to plant all your radishes at once, and you don't want to harvest them all at once either. So one mistake I made early on was when I was getting ready for gardening season, I'd go to the store, I'd buy seed packets. I'll buy a pack of this, I'll buy a pack of that, I'd buy a pack of radish seed. Well, one pack of radish seed really isn't enough if you want radishes all season long. So succession planting them every few days, about every 10 days for me, throughout the season. So buy 3 or 4 packs of radishes if you want them throughout your whole summer season, spring and summer. One little pack isn't going to do you. Like I said, thinning them is important. Loose soil, thinning, and really it's just that simple. So there is one more thing I need to warn you about. Growing radishes is a little bit addictive. Once you've had your fresh grown radishes out of your garden, you're really not going to want to go back to grocery store radishes. So be prepared to have enough radishes throughout the season. For me, radishes are kind of one of those things I'm like, I don't really love it all that much throughout the year. I don't have to have radishes on my salad, but my homegrown radishes along with some herbs from my garden and a salad, you really can't beat that. And it's so easy when you have all your salad ingredients right in your backyard that you're definitely going to want this staple for your salad. There's other recipes out there. Get on Pinterest, Google them, sweating your radishes or slicing them really thin in a cucumber salad. There's a ton of things that you can do, but nothing really beats them just fresh, chopped up in your salad. Now, I recommend harvesting your radishes right before you're going to eat them. But if you've harvested them in the heat of the day, or they've been on the countertop for a while, you really should put them in your fridge if you're not going to use them right away. But if they start to feel soft, don't throw those away, okay? Put those in some ice water for about an hour, and you're going to have cool, crisp, hard radishes like you had when you first plucked them. Thank you so much for joining me, and let me know if you have any questions.